So an amazing thing happened while I'm sitting here, and the guy comes up and asks if he can play music. And so I realize my tears are now dancing with the notes of his music. And it's this wonderful tandem experience. And emotions and whatever else needs to flow through me flows through me and then out of me. There is no blockages. It's just this outpouring. And then he plays the song I had been waiting to hear. Taps. Okay? 3 years ago or so, when the church kicked me out, I got really, really sick, and I managed to get myself okay for, a few months later, I got myself kind of okay. I felt like I was just starting to recover some strength, and took my daughter to the Labor Day parade. And in the distance, I hear taps being played. I was like, oh God, no, please God, no, don't do this to me. I hate this song. Because every time I have ever heard that song, it has brought on a very deep level of despair and sadness. So when I hear this, I know what's rising up in my body, and this is worse than anything I have ever experienced. And I mean, I'm begging God, don't do this to me. Stop this song now. Please, 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 I'm begging you. Have mercy on me. And, well, God answered me by the song getting closer. Apparently some sort of initiation was going into play that I didn't realize. Because I became a puddle of misery in a sea of contrived celebration, was how I looked at it. These people were celebrating what I consider to be meaningless, senseless death. So the song Taps plays, and after a few minutes I'm starting to get myself under control. And then a silent procession goes by of like 100 different people, each carrying the flag bearing the name and information of a fallen soldier. That was it. That killed me on the spot. If there was a knife there, it would have been stuck into me and twisted in my gut. I lost any bit of control I had over myself, and those tears flowed like I had turned on a fire hose. I am trying my best to cry and sob and weep as silently as possible so as to not draw attention to myself. And oddly enough, for the most part, I did succeed, except for one person across the way saw me, made her way over across the street, came to me and asked me if I was okay, asked me if I had ever lost anybody, or if I was crying for somebody in particular. In this moment, I look at her with tear-blurred eyes. I'm trying to focus, and I'm just thinking, really? Okay. How do I answer this? Because I knew very well this was really, I hadn't even really begun realizing I could talk to spirits at all. That was a few days later. But I knew very well that I have no reason why I am crying. And the only thing that comes to me is in this moment, I am crying for everybody. So how do I explain this to her? So I just said, yeah, you could say that. And I just left it there. And then she wants to keep prattling and talking to me as if suddenly we're brand new best friends. And again, I'm thinking, really, I am not in a very good state right now. I can't control myself. I can hardly get out a word edgewise, and you're trying to carry on a conversation with me? I really don't want to talk to you. Okay, but I didn't say anything. I should have. And then she starts asking me a question which I had just come to despise. What church do you go to? And see, up until this point, I had tried to make friends for my daughter. and I volunteered at my local library. I did a lot of things in service of children. And you would think that with all this, I would have been able to find some friends for my daughter. But that wasn't the case. And everybody who seemed like they would be a potential friend, it didn't matter how much they liked me at the library or serving their children or whatever. When it came to actually trying to develop a relationship with them, their first question was, what church do you go to? Every single person. And I'm like, God, seriously, why are you punishing me? And this is the whole thing of just the previous summer, God had said, I want you to go to church. I want you to go to church. And I'm like, good God, don't you understand? This is what all these people are asking me is, what church do I go to? And repeatedly, I tell them I don't go to a specific church, that you created anything and everything and you're with my heart all the time, so I don't need to be in a specific place to worship you. Apparently that put me square in the realm of paganism. Go figure. And but people didn't like it, and it made me their social pariah. And so I was begging God to not have to go to church. And so now, following the church experience, now 1 year later from when I went in, and 9 months later was excommunicated, basically, and 3 months of recovery, I'm at this parade, and this blubbering or blathering woman, whatever, I can't even think of the right word right now, asks me with audacity, big yellow plane just flew over my head. Well, it's not a big plane, it's a biplane, but you know. Anyway, asked me with the audacity, what church do I go to? And I am like, God, you and I are so done. And so I leave that experience, and this is when I get introduced to the world of spirit communication. And it oddly enough came through my daughter, who at the time is only like 8 or something. She says, Mama, you know, you guys got me that book the other day that I wanted. I don't know how to read it yet. It's a big book, you know. It's like, I don't really know how to read it yet. I just wanted it because it had the picture of the fairies on the front. I want you to have this book because I know that you need it. And she says, as a matter of fact, I want you to talk to my fairy friends. So, you know, I never discouraged anything going on in my daughter. In fact, I encouraged every sort of supernatural experience she had, because that wasn't done for me. I didn't know exactly what happened. I realized that I had probably blocked out a lot of things, and I've been healing that over the years. At one point, though, I'm pretty certain I was quite open as a child, and the circumstances caused me to shut down. Intuitively, I knew this, and I knew that I was not going to shut my daughter down. So I always encouraged her supernatural experiences wherever I could, and tried my best to explain to her what was going on. But when she said that I could talk to her fairies, that was the first time I ever actually entertained the idea that this was something beyond imagination. And also the first time I had ever entertained the idea that there was something else out there beyond God. And more so, that I could talk to something else beside God. So you could say that that threw me into a spiritual crisis, but the spiritual crisis happened way before that at Easter time, when I questioned, was I even worthy to present this message of the death of Christ? The crisis was, I feel like I have so much love and compassion that I carry, and yet people keep hating me. What am I missing about the Christian faith, or what am I doing wrong? So this was just one more thing in that crisis, but it wasn't really a crisis, honestly. It was a key that opened a door. And at the end of the hallway of this door is where I am now. But the door that it opened was the entry into the valley of the shadow of death. And that's where I entered the dark night of my soul. So that song, Taps, was the song that ushered me into my soul death.